Cavs GM David Griffin says first-year coach David Blatt is going nowhere. I'm Jim Basketball with the latest ESPN headlines. There had been suspicion that Blatt's job could be on the line this early in his tenure. I want to read a quote where he says it's a non-story, a non-narrative. Coach Blatt is our coach. He's going to remain our coach. Do not write that it's a vote of confidence. He never needed one. It was never a question, so don't write it that way. We are joined on the phone by Brian Windhorst, who covers the NBA for ESPN. And Brian, ESPN.com was just reporting last week there's a rising concern in the organization that Blatt was not getting the level of response needed on the floor in terms of what they were producing on a day-in, day-out basis. How would you categorize not only the so-called rift or the relationship between Blatt and the players, but also what the message that Griffin was saying on Sunday?
Well, this was a pretty tense a message that David Griffin gave, and I think it was a message for the fans to hear, but I also believe it was aimed at his own players. This was he can call it a vote of, he can complain about it not being called a vote of confidence or whatever, but that is essentially what it is. And this isn't, the ears that this is landing on isn't just meant to what we're talking about here. It's meant to land in that locker room. And I don't know whether he had a separate conference with the players or if this acted as his statement to the players, because that's really where the issue is. The Cavs can complain about the narrative or whatever they want, but it was very clear that there was some difficulty. David Blatt, a guy who was used to being treated as a veteran coach with a lot of respect,
sure,
was being treated as a rookie coach in a lot of facets by some of his players, including LeBron James, who has not created a strong bond with this coach at all. And anybody can deny that up and down and parse words. His actions and his quotes have been very clear on this regard. So this was the Cavs responding and letting their players know, in addition to everybody else, that they want to support David Blatt going forward.
And this is a team that suffered their 15th loss on Sunday at the hands of the Dallas Mavericks. They're without LeBron, who has been sidelined and will be up to 2 weeks now. They have several other players that are out with injuries, so they're shorthanded as we speak. But with regards to LeBron, what is it that LeBron James needs from David Blatt? If there's a kind of a rift or there's a disconnect between the coach and star player, what is it that LeBron needs from his coach with regards to there being a problem?
Yeah, I just think that from day one, LeBron has not fully bought into David Blatt. And this may seem superficial, but I think it's very telling nonetheless that he elected not to meet with David Blatt for over a month after he signed with the Cavs. And I understand that there are scheduling issues and everything, but in the world of private jets and billionaires and millionaires, getting them together in a room would not have been a problem if it was a priority for LeBron, and LeBron did not make it a priority, and he set the tone for the relationship with that and has furthered that with his words and actions. And he is not alone. I think he's the leader of the team, so he sets the tone, but there are other players on this roster. Sean Marion began complaining about playing time and David Blatt's usage of him on the first day of the season. So, this is something that has been going on. And you're right, though, Jim. They're in a different phase right now. 8 days ago, this team was underachieving. Now they're really banged up. They've had 4 or 5 injuries that hit them over the last 10 or 12 days, including Anderson Varejao being knocked out for the year. Now LeBron is out for an extended period with back and knee injuries. Just today, Kyrie Irving tweaked his back. Kevin Love has missed time with a back injury. So this is sort of a secondary issue. They're now dealing with injuries that are causing them to slow down. But I think what's important to realize is there was a 6-day difference between when the first ESPN story came out and when David Griffin stepped up and made a statement here. And, our story said that the Cavs were concerned and talking internally about what to do with this problem within their own locker room. And it took them a while to come to a decision. I don't believe that they had made up their mind, or they certainly have not presented the case that they had made up their mind. Today, it seems like they have made up their mind, and their decision is to support David Blatt. but it seemed like it took a while for them to come out and say that. So everybody's going to have their own story here, but I think the evidence was pretty solid that there was an issue, and we'll see how this vote of confidence plus the Cavs getting more healthy changes going forward.
Yeah, you have to wonder in the near future if LeBron kind of forces their hand and if they have to side with the star player or the coach in terms of how much he'll support the coach moving forward. Brian Windhorst covers the NBA for ESPN.com. Brian, we appreciate the insight.
Thank you, Jim.
You, of course, can read more about this story right here on ESPN.com. With the latest ESPN headlines, I'm Jim Basquil.